Previously on Blunders and Dragons. After being turned away from the Temple of Torm, the group headed to the All-Faith Church, who was sheltering the victims of the Knight's Inferno in the Dock District. At the church, the group encountered Bernadette, a member of the Council of the Three, who was distributing food and shelter to those in need. She pulled the four aside and ushered them to her office, where she wished to continue their earlier discussion, which was cut short by the Lord Commander's timely interruption. Some information was gleaned from her on the subject of the lighthouses. It turns out that the lighthouses use divination magic to guide ships through the treacherous shoals, both to and from the harbor. The original lighthouse could only manage the navigation of a single vessel at a time, while the more modern lighthouse, sponsored by the Blue Peacocks, could safely direct numerous such vessels. Thus the ancient lighthouse was taken out of commission. Another tidbit gathered from her was that Kitsteel was not the first Lord Commander of the Blue Peacocks to come to Mission Harbor. Maurice Pound, aka Mo Pound, held the office originally, before going missing. After exchanging words with Bernadette and spending the night at the church, the group set out to the eastern docks to see if passage could be gained to the shipwrecked off the coast. Unfortunately for them, the soldiers of the Blue Peacocks were guarding the docks and were not allowing even the smallest vessel to leave the shore. Detracted from their task, the group finally decided to open Gibraltar's scroll case, the contents of which were revealed to be a message protected by a cipher, which no one was able to comprehend or decode in the slightest. Seeking a new direction, the four returned to the following Egg Inn to see if their gnomish acquaintance, Orwin, had any success in diagnosing the ills of the modern lighthouse. As it turns out, the Lord Commander's men had whisked him away to the lighthouse on a previous day, and he had not been seen since. Interested in what findings Orwin had made, the troop were heading to the lighthouse when a glint of light coming from the northern cliffs caught their eyes. The cliffs, from which were suspended cages holding the skeletal remains of ancient prisoners, had a crude lift being guarded by two more Blue Peacocks. The party was lucky to arrive when they did, and caught the guards sharing an intimate moment. Embarrassed at their now public show of affection, they allowed the four to use the lift to ascend the cliffs in hopes that they would not reveal their affair to the other peacocks. Atop the cliffs, the troops saw row after row of cages, but two of the prisons still held living occupants. The first cage contained the incapacitated body of Orwin, their gnomish friend, while the second bonded Maurice, Mo Pound, the original Lord Commander. Maurice was a shell of his former self, and informed those in attendance that he had been tricked and ambushed by his own men in an attempt to oust him from power. The four hatched a plan to pull Maurice away from the edge of the cliff when the elevator brought about unwanted visitors. The remaining masked and hooded soldiers who had assaulted the group in the streets a few days prior had returned, and with an undead bear in tow. Despite their best efforts, the assailants were not able to interrupt the retrieval of the two prisoners, all but one suffering mortal injury in the altercation. The elevator brought forth one more guest in the form of Riskel, the sour member of the Council of the Three. He confided in the team that his earlier attempts to sentence the group to hang on the cliffs was actually a heavy-handed measure to get them to investigate the suspicious setting. Where shall our heroes head to next? Find out on Blunders and Dragons.
And then if we had a theme song, or like, it would play here. You see fun clips of the players like having trouble doing the laundry and that kind of thing.
Yeah. Someone spills some coffee on someone's new shirt right before a big job interview.
So, go back. We caught the two guards in an embrace.
Yep.
Would you say that we had caught a peacock?
I wouldn't. No. No? Oh, I see. Yes. I would say that. Okay. So you guys begin the campaign atop this cliff. You have an unconscious or a sleeping masked attacker at Melvin's feet.
I think we woke him up and shoved dead meat in his mouth.
Did you do that?
Well, we gave him the option of he was bound and restrained very significantly, and we gave him the option of either falling off the cliff or coming with us and answering some questions.
And I think he chose to come with you, if I'm not
Oh
mistaken.
yeah, then we gagged him.
We did gag him with the rotting flesh of the.
Oh, that's right.
Zombie
Oh, that's awful.
And then my sock.
And your sock, which was worse.
That put him over the edge. Yeah. Now he was.
He was dry
trying to get to the
heaving.
cliffs, but-
Yeah.
Is he taking
Holding him
poison
back.
damage, Pat?
We'll see what happens with him later on.
So he's masked?
Yep.
Let's unmask him.
All right. Why don't you? Okay. Yeah, sure. Kronar walks over to him and pulls his mask off, and it is a completely unrecognizable. In that you don't know who it is. Not that their face is unrecognizable. Recognize them.
Give us something.
Father,
Sex,
is that you?
Race?
It's some human male.
Boring.
Yep.
Yeah. Seen one of those, you've seen them all.
You know, all look alike to me. Am I right?
I think some of us are pretty good looking.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Does he look like our bard companion?
Does he look like your bard companion? No.
Well, okay, so he's not good looking then.
Well, you're not related to him.
How different could he look? He's a human male.
Yeah.
Has he got like a third nostril?
He does have a third nostril, actually.
Alright.
That explains the mask.
Yeah. Actually, hideously disfigured. Now that you're up here and the kind of heat of battle is over, you notice that what's his name? Orwin is kind of keeping his hands close to his chest, and you can kind of glimpse that looks like a lot of his fingers have been broken.
Aww. Didn't I heal him?
What's that?
I gave him some healing with my healing word.
Uh,
Did I heal him at all?
yeah, but it looks like they did some. I guess that's how healing works in this stupid universe, isn't it? Yeah, his fingers look slightly better.
But still.
High five, Orwin.
He definitely keeps it close to his chest.
Oh, gonna leave me hanging? Well, I guess we're not best friends anymore.
Aw, poor Tinker's fingers.
So Briscoe says, "Should go. Follow me."
Agreed.
And with Maurice in tow, along with the gagged and bound attacker and the rest of the crew, the party makes its way back down the cliff using the lift without any further trouble.
We didn't search the corpses?
Oh yeah, would you like to?
That seems like something that Arius would do.
Arius was, yeah, he kind of patted things that while everyone else was rescuing Orwin, Arius had no interest in that, and he did kind of go around and poke and prod it.
So did I already tell you if you found anything?
You did not, no.
All right. Rolling to see if you do. Do not. Find nothing. Nothing of value, anyways. Their weapons are aside them, and they have their armor and that kind of thing. So if you wanted to steal some of that, you could. But otherwise, there's nothing of particular interest.
Arius, does anyone have a dagger?
Yeah, sure. One of them has a dagger kind of tucked into their boot.
Yeah, Arius will take that.
Smells like
Dagger.
dead man foot.
Okay.
Already?
Yeah. The feet rot first.
Hmm.
Yep. Known fact about rotting.
Yep.
So you make your way down the cliff. You're led back into the village, and then through the gate of the estate district, which, let me flip you over to the map so I can show you what that is. Through this gate over here. You guys see that?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Is there a so this is literally a gated community?
Yeah, essentially.
Excellent. Arius is gonna walk a little taller now.
Okay. And soon, Risco leads you up to a beautiful seaside manor. As you reach the landing to the home, the front door swings open, revealing a smartly dressed tiefling who bows to Risco and the rest of you. And tiefling, Risco will turn to him and say, "Sinclair, have the others arrived?" And he'll reply, "Yes, Mr. Stigfried. They are situated in the nest." And then Risco will lead you up the stairs to up a set of stairs, and then up another set of stairs, and then up another set of stairs, and eventually you find yourself in the attic of a big sprawling mansion. And in the room you see a table around which is sitting Bernadette, Dorothy, the dishwasher from the following egg, and an unknown man with a long, graying black beard.
So who was referred to as the Sinclair called Riskel Siegfried?
Yep. Sturge. Hang on, I wrote this down. Sturgif. Stirgif. Sturgif? Sturgif.
So which is it? Is it
Sturgif.
Who's Sturgith?
He referred to Riskel as Mr. Sturgif.
do you call him stir fry?
Yeah.
Good.
Well, Arius will.
So, how does one Sturg, and why does he Sturgith?
You want to roll an intelligence check to see if that name has any meaning to you?
Yeah, it was more of a grammatical thing. I mean,
Oh. Well, I don't know how one Sturgifs.
he's Sturging, but he Sturgith.
Keep making these jokes, I'm going to put peas in my mouth.
He doth Sturgith. I'm sorry, they're not jokes.
Who stirgeth on yonder window?
Yes. There's no such thing as an intelligence check, like an investigation or like an insight.
You can just roll like intelligence.
Yeah, just a straight d20 plus your intelligence modifier.
Yeah, no, it's too late. I did this other thing instead.
Okay.
But insight is not intelligence. All right.
That's true.
You can roll an intelligence check if you'd like, or we can stick with that check, which will do nothing. Okay. As a druid, you know that the Latin word for owl is Sturgif something or other. And that's where I pulled that from. So, owl. Owl's going to be a theme. Prepare for that theme.
All right, I'm going to put that in the next time.
Yep.
So I'd like to assess the only person I don't know in the room, which is the man with the gray beard.
My name's Arius. Oh, I'm sorry. You're talking to him.
The man with the gray beard kind of has tan skin. It looks like it's but insight is a wisdom check. Yes, we didn't use the insight check. We used the intelligence check for that. I'm talking to someone who's talking in chat. He has like dark tan skin. It looks like it's kind of well worn from being out in the weather and in the sun. He has kind of strong-looking hands.
On a scale of 1 to longshoreman, how longshoreman does he look?
It looks like. Why don't you roll an insight check?
I would love to, because insight is a thing that I can do with my wisdom.
Yep.
And if he's a longshoreman, is he in the Union?
It looks like he could have been at some point. Yeah.
All right.
Could have been a longshoreman at some point.
Or maybe something else.
Something else, yeah.
Looks like he was probably a clown at children's parties for a while.
Yeah. What you're saying is that he's weathered.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Does
so,
he look like a formidable warrior? I think is what I'd be more interested in.
you don't know about warrior, but it looks like he's not afraid of a hard day's work.
Is he afraid of a hard day's night? The song.
He's a big Beatles fan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So he's not scared.
Oh, Jude.
So Arius will walk up to the dishwasher and kind of lean in and just kind of say, can you get me a refund? Because I had to actually pay the first night we stayed at the following egg. Your boss didn't take my word, and I had to fork out some money. So now that we're all friends here, you can comp me, right?
He says, "You don't say." Can you make a perception check for me?
Yep.
Okay. He hands you your change purse. Says, "Yeah, here's your refund."
Yo, thank you so much, friend. Arius will just tuck it right in coat pocket without looking at it.
Yep. So eventually, Risco will bid you sit at the table, and he will explain to you some things. Brace yourself.
What could he possibly explain to us that we don't already know?
Arius will look for the most prominent seat, which is probably going to go to Risco, but he'll try and sit in that seat.
Yeah, you
Unless
can't.
it's a round table.
Kind of like it's not a round table. It's a rectangular table.
Yeah, he'll sit at the head of the table.
Okay, so you sort of manage to, like, as he's pulling his chair out, you kind of like slide into it, and Riskel will sigh and like move over to a different chair. So he welcomes you all to what he calls the nest, and he says it's the home of the owls.
Hmm.
I'm not going to do this in his voice because if I do
it,
I can explain a lot less
do it,
in a lot more time, or I can.
Sounds like a coward.
do it.
He goes on to explain that
Do it.
the owls arrived in Mission Harbor not long before the Blue Peacocks, and that they were sent here from Opus to prevent what ended up happening in El Arafa. And they have obviously failed.
I don't know.
Prevent what's happening in the sense of the crates being taken out of the dead city, or just hundreds of years ago when the city was falling to disrepair.
He says, word that we... he says, I wish we were around that long ago, but no. We were... Our mission was to stop... We didn't know what the peacocks were going to end up doing, but we were supposed to stop them from doing it, and that did not work at all.
So you still mean them taking the crates from...
Well, now we know what their plan was.
Wait, how did they know about the crates?
They didn't know... The owls did not know about the crates. They just knew that the Blue Peacocks were going to El Rafa to steal something, or do something there that they were afraid would make the undead situation in that place worse. Which it has.
I see.
Not noticeably.
Well...
So you didn't
I mean,
mean
aside from the plague and...
Yeah, the plague, the forest being infested with undead hordes. Besides all that, not noticeably.
Are you saying that the blight is caused by the warring happening in El Rafa? Was there no blight before? No undead in your forest?
Not in the number they are now. Seems that they have been sent out of their city, search for what was taken from them, and they're spreading their pestilence quickly.
How would you have ended the war with El Rafa if not by means of theft?
Wouldn't have. We would have left them at peace.
There can be no peace with the undead. Your strategy lacks results.
Well, that was our former strategy. Now we see we must act.
What is your plan now?
Our plan is to find out what they're up to, and then plan from that. So Bernadette will go on to explain how she and Riskel were recruited into the Owls by the visitor who was sent from Opus originally.
The visitor, is that the same as the gray-bearded man?
At that point, the dishwasher actually kind of sits up in his seat a little more straight and says, "That was me."
I knew it all along.
You did not.
Nonsense.
And you'll
Why
hand.
do you think I took you into my confidence in the inn, and I handed you my filthy dishes? Did you not see the message for help I carved out from the husk of the pheasant you served me?
No, I must have missed that.
Oh, well, not all of us are professionals.
So he'll kind of go on to explain that he was the one who was sent here from Opus. Riskel and Bernadette already had some concerns before the Peacocks arrived, because they're already in negotiations about the lighthouse and that kind of thing. So when Wet Willie, which is his name, arrived from Opus, he recruited them into his confidence. And that's how the Owls, this branch of the Owls was formed in Mission Harbor.
Do we know? Are we familiar with the Owls, or is that something that we?
Why don't you roll a history check?
All of us, or just him?
Well, he's the one who asked.
Good.
You would probably have heard of them maybe in passing or maybe by a different name. It's an organization that tries to prevent possible catastrophes in the world by stopping people from getting their hands on powerful artifacts or putting a dagger in the right place to prevent a massive war, that kind of thing.
And do they hold on to these
war?
artifacts?
A mechanic.
What's that?
He's a mechanic.
Exactly.
Do they hold on to these powerful artifacts once they have them?
Your history check isn't good enough to know the answer to that question.
Tell me, Wet Willie, what is your rank in the Owls?
He's their bus boy. And so kind of elbow in the stomach, and look around the room.
You're gonna elbow yourself in the stomach?
No, he elbows Willie in the stomach.
So you're gonna get up from the head of the table, walk around to where he's sitting?
Willie's all over there.
Yeah.
So we'll just elbow whoever's next to him then.
All right.
You just elbow the air, you know what I mean? Say no more.
That'll work too.
Yeah, the air chuckles with you. What Willie goes on to say that he's been keeping in contact with Opus since the ships were no longer able to set sail from this town anymore. And he heard that before the shipwreck happened and that boat ended up on the teeth outside of the harbor, that a ship was being sent from Opus that would be of great interest to him.
Do you believe the shipwreck and your ship are the same?
And he says he does. Sure do.
Good swimmer?
Pardon me?
Are you a good swimmer, Willie?
No.
So what's gonna happen when Kip Stale comes back from the new lighthouse and wanders into town? He's probably gonna find out pretty quickly that we stole Mo Pound from the jaws of death.
And threw one of his cronies off a cliff.
I suspect he already knows. And if he were to come back to town, it would be en masse to arrest us all. Well, at least the three of you. He doesn't know about us yet.
He will is the minute he starts interrogating us, I'll tell you that. So, will the townspeople not resist? Are the Blue Peacocks that numerous?
It's a good question. I think unless the townspeople had evidence supporting our claims, it would be unlikely to side against the soldiers.
Evidence, of course! You there! And Arius will just point to the first person he sees.
Okay. That's the butler.
Run quick! That's who?
Sinclair.
Okay. Quick! There's a simpleton boy whose house was nearly burned down. Possibly it was. I don't know. I saved the boy, though. He's carrying something very important to us. Quick, run and get him.
Sinclair very slowly raises an eyebrow at you and turns his head slightly to Riskel, who also turns his head towards you and says, I think he means, what, did we give that guy a name?
We did, I want to say it was Frankie, maybe? Something
Okay,
like that?
yeah. I think he means Frankie. Go fetch Frankie.
He's a slow lad. Very sweet boy, though.
Okay. Sinclair will step out of the room, and you hear him creaking down the stairs. Did I mention that Dorothy was sitting at this table?
Yeah, you did.
Okay. You see that she is sitting extremely nervously at the table. She doesn't seem comfortable at all, like she wants to be there. And you also find out through Wet Willie that the bearded man sitting at the table is named Squid, and and he'll confirm to you that he was the fellow who was able to rescue someone from the shipwreck.
Oh. So
Is
you
that
must
when
know
they
the
brought-
manifest of the ship. What did it contain that was so valuable to the owls?
Says, well, I never did make it out to the ship. I just took my boat and my lantern, and then I went out into the choppy sea. Waves were high that day, 10 feet if there were an inch. Anyways, I sailed out and I saw this poor half-orc woman struggling. I thought she was going to drown before I got to her. She very nearly did, but I'm a good rower, so I pulled her up into my boat and then brought her back to my farm. And then you realize that he's probably the guy who has a dock at his farm, which I just pinged at the map. Oh, you probably don't see it on the map, people. Right there. Says, she's been unconscious since she got back.
Is she magically ill or just regular ill?
Oh, I think it was the chills.
What about the spills and the thrills?
Well, plenty of those too, I suppose, although in my time, I didn't hear about thrills or...
Quiet, old man, you're very boring.
Okay. Thank you for that.
Would you be able to navigate another party to the shipwreck?
Well, my boat doesn't hold that many, but I suppose I could lend you my lantern.
Oh, that's okay. Just take Arius with you.
Well, let's not be hasty here. Those waters are very cold this time of year and extremely deep and choppy. It's very dangerous. We should all go together.
That has a
let's not be
point.
hasty.
Probably need someone who can row well.
Right, look at my noodly arms. Arius will wave his arms around.
Are any of you strong enough to row?
Certainly strong enough. But should the water get choppy, I'll sink like a stone.
My friend Kronar is strong as a bear.
Well, that's what the lantern's for. Should avoid most of the chop.
I can hold the lantern.
I can see how bad this can go right now. So tell us, owls, why is it we should side with you when the Blue Peacocks are obviously the superior military force here in town?
Well, sorry, what will he say? Well, we're not trying to kill you, for one.
They did try to drown one of your kin in the sea.
I mean...
Plus, they sent us on that wild goose chase. And we didn't even get any geese.
Do you have a means to raise an army that would be strong enough to overtake the Peacocks?
At this point, that dude, whose name I will say once I find it, Maurice Pound, will kind of interject and say, well, wait, I need a voice for him. What was his voice? Anyone remember?
Strong.
He says,
It was the worst French accent we've ever heard.
oh yes. He says, well, excuse me, I have something in my throat. Probably a frog, no jokes.
Arius tugs at his collar.
Yeah. He says, we are an organization that prides itself in hierarchy. Technically, if Mr. Kit Steele is now in charge, the proper paperwork will have been filled. But if you are to find something that would indicate he is not deserving of his position, then maybe the soldiers would listen to me again.
Excellent. We will set up a duel between you and the Commander Steele. And when you are victorious, you shall lead them to glory.
He's a very weak old man. Keep that in mind.
Yeah, he does look very, very frail right now.
Maybe we can set up like a whittling duel. You look like a whittler. Do you like to carve things out of wood?
Well, no. I don't.
Great news. You're as boring as squid.
So, what Willie will go on to say that, well, the French guy has a point. If we had evidence to support the fact that Kit Steele...
Wait, there's a France in this world?
Yeah, yep. Yeah, it's a small island that is extremely populated.
Can't you just tell the soldiers that Kit Steele imprisoned you?
He says, my other fear is that they're already on his side, and showing myself would just result in my death. If I could defend myself better, then maybe, but I can't.
Well, that's a risk we're willing to take.
What Willie says, listen guys, if we get whatever's on that boat off that boat, I'm sure we'll have a case, and we'll be able to go arrest him ourselves, or better yet, kill him. And
So you're saying there's contents on that ship that will allow you to raise the army you need?
The dead or just raise the,
hey,
the living?
I was just told that that boat would have the answers, and if I have 4 strong people who can go out there and get it for me, then that's what I want to do. Riskel and Squid will go on to say that they believe you should just go and storm the lighthouse and drag Kit Steele out and end this once and for all.
I love that idea.
Burn-
Excellent idea. Best idea I've heard all night. To the lighthouse.
Bernadette and Dorothy believe that you should get some sort of proof to make sure to prove that Kit Steele is guilty before making a move on anyone. Wet Willie thinks you should go to the boat, and Kirby will advise you that any judgment shouldn't be made without evidence.
Is cutting off both of Kit's arms judgment, or?
He says, yes.
What about his genitals? Can we slice those off?
With evidence, yes.
Evidence of what?
What about forged evidence? Is that valid?
No.
What about the scroll
disappointing.
we have?
So what, sorry?
The scroll that we have?
Could be evidence if we could read it.
Well,
Oh right, who reads
Mo,
who here reads in
not read it?
ciphers?
Maurice Steele says, the Blue Peacock cipher. I could read it.